Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk. And let me tell you, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got channel stuff to talk about. I have some questions to ask you about potentially the future of the channel. I have some guns to show you that I have in for review. I have to show you some guns that I took to the range, and maybe you've already noticed I got a big cut here on my head, and we got to talk about that one too, because that happened at the gun range today. Man, we got a lot to talk about. So let's start off with, why don't we start off with the guns that I shot today first. So I took two firearms to the range today. I showed them off, I think, was it last night or 2 nights ago? First one is the Cabot Guns Apocalypse. Beautiful 1911. Okay, so how does it shoot? It shoots good. It shoots good. It's potentially a very accurate gun for me, and I can tell you what was preventing me from shooting it accurate, and it's more me than the gun itself. And I had kind of a very similar problem when it came to the Cabot Guns Insurrection. And that is the release of the trigger, okay? And my shooting style typically is, I like to ride the reset. If you guys don't know what that is, I think most of you do, but we should go over it in case some of us do not know. So if you pull the trigger, the hammer goes down. Of course, the slide will cycle, cock the hammer, and then I will release my finger just far enough to hear the click. Now the trigger is reset, and now I can pull the trigger again. I don't take my finger completely off. Now, I think you actually just saw the issue I was having, and as I said, I had the same issue with the Insurrection, the 2011 pistol. I find that the Cabot guns have a really awkward reset, where you release it, I'm slowly releasing pressure, and then it reaches one point, and it like forces itself forward, but it's not using as little energy as you think it would be. I like it when as soon as I start to release the pressure, the trigger's kind of going with it, and I can gauge that. Is that making any sense? And I really felt like the Staccato XL with the island barrel had that. For some reason, as I release the pressure and I move my trigger finger out, it's like it doesn't move, and once it hits that point where it has no longer enough energy to hold the trigger back, it like pops forward. And it's not predictable for me. So because my shooting style is to ride the reset, even if I'm shooting slow, I find that it's a little bit awkward for me to release the trigger and then pull it back again. And it causes me to kind of pull the gun down a little bit. And so I was having elevation issues with this, where most of my targets, you're going to see the group almost like in a straight line about this tall. And I'm just kind of having to adjust for that. And I think the way that I shoot is the issue. And then, of course, red dots, I just don't shoot red dots as well. But this gun is okay. I mean, it obviously groups well, and a number of times I was putting holes through holes. But the groups weren't like super consistent. It shoots really well. The recoil impulse of this gun is also a little bit different than I was expecting. When you rack the slide on this gun, it feels like the recoil spring is a lot more stout than many other 1911s. And I was kind of wondering, is that going to change the ejection pattern? But it didn't. And maybe this gun is designed for that for some reason. Maybe that extractor is different, because we've already talked about how it is different internally. I feel like the slide reciprocates a hair slower because the recoil spring is heavier. And it has a little bit different feel than a standard 1911. In some ways it's better, and in some ways I don't like it because it's unfamiliar. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad, okay? So I have to kind of think about that. But overall, the gun shot well. No issues, no failures to fire, failures to feed. There was one issue, failure to feed. Okay, not really a big issue. Hollow points in this. I was using, in fact, let me show you the projectiles I was using for this, because I think I saved some. Let me see here. Yeah, here we go. I was using some S&B jacketed hollow point, and this is 230 grain. Okay, so look at the nose on that projectile right there. I mean, that thing is flat. Big old cavern in the front of that projectile. When I loaded the magazine to capacity, it stuck on the feed ramp on the first round. Then I simply pulled the slide back, let it go again, and it did chamber it, and I didn't have any other issues. So the gun's going to have tighter tolerances. Don't know over the longevity of the firearm. Is that going to be a problem? I didn't have any issues once the gun went bang the first time. But that was it. I think that was the only issue I had with it. But the gun is good. The gun is good. I think the biggest selling point of the Cabot guns is the way that they look, the way that they're built. I feel like I had a much better time. Of course, this is a 1911, and maybe it's not fair to compare it with a 2011. But it has the same mechanism. I felt like the Staccato XL is still a far superior firearm. And when it comes to 1911s in general, this one feels solid. It feels like no other 1911. I mean, it is a solid gun. But I feel like I've shot other 1911s better. Maybe I just liked a little bit looser tolerances. It's a heavy gun, but it shoots okay. So it was not a bad experience. But I was kind of hoping it was going to be one of those, you know, the clouds part and the you know, the ray of sunlight comes down and hits you as you shoot it, and it's just like this whoa kind of a feel. It was okay. It was okay. It's definitely a good gun. And as I said, some of the issues are going to be me and my style of shooting, but it was good. It was good. All right, now let's talk about the next gun and this cut on my head. And I told you, I think at some point in the past, I was actually a little bit nervous about this one because I knew this was going to be a powerful handgun. And here we have the AMT Automag 5 in 50 AE. Yeah. Well, let me give you the Reader's Digest version. This gun is very, very powerful. With the porting on the barrel, you feel it, you see the flash. The recoil's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. But it's very powerful. It's like a big thud. The trigger is way too light. In my opinion, this gun is dangerous. Okay? Not dangerous from a manufacturing standpoint where I worry the gun will go off when you don't have your finger on the trigger. Not that. But the trigger is so light on this, and you're dealing with such a powerful cartridge, and the muzzle flip is so much, and the concussion is so loud. For me, it just doesn't work. It's cool from the standpoint that it's a 50 AE, a 50 caliber projectile. But in my opinion, this gun is dangerous. But now let's talk about this. Okay, so I start off the shooting with just one round. I load one round in the firearm. And I was talking to my friend Richard today when I met him, and I'll show you one of the guns he's let me borrow. And we were talking about shooting this today, and I said, you know, I'm going to start off with just one round in the magazine, because if the gun malfunctions, if it blows up or whatever, I don't want to have other rounds potentially go off. I just want to shoot one round. I want to see what the recoil's all about, and then we'll go from there. And so I shot one round through it, and it was very low. And I had the exact same experience with the other Automags, the Automag 3 and the Automag 4. They shot very, very low. Now, I thought, unlike the other reviews, I'm going to be smart. And as you can see here, we have an adjustable rear sight. Yeah, we have a little screw. And as you can see, well, maybe not. It has a little arrow, and it says up, and you turn the screw that way. It's just like adjusting a red dot. Okay. Yeah, so let's adjust that, because I didn't do that on the last review. So I adjust it, and I bring it up, 2 clicks, like not much at all. Load another magazine. I'm ready to fire a whole magazine through this thing. Get the gun on target. Goes bang once. Okay, we're good to go. It fed again. Second bang. I thought a casing came back and hit my face. But no. It was the sight. The whole sight came off, and the screw hit me right here in the head. I caught it on camera, and I'll show it. And I was bleeding. Now, I'm not in pain. It wasn't like a traumatic injury or any of that. And actually, it was kind of weird is when it did that, the gun locked open, even though there was another round in the magazine. So, yeah, sorry, it was my second magazine that I did. So I think that was the first mag is after I adjusted the sights. And it was the second mag. And that happened. And that was the end of the range report, because I had come to the conclusion that this gun is too powerful, the trigger is too light, and now the gun is hurting me. The gun is too dangerous, okay? Now, I know some people are going to say, you're just a wimp. Man, there's a reason handguns are typically certain powerful, or certain pressures, you know, when it comes to a cartridge, a certain power in a cartridge. There's a reason why we don't make 308 pistols. I mean, like handguns, like this. There's a reason for it. This is a powerful handgun. Maybe a little bit too powerful for me, and the trigger is way too light. Like it, a couple of times, even though I have my sights on target, I'm ready to pull the trigger, and I feel like I want to bring the trigger back to the wall. There's no wall. It just goes off. And it's a little bit on the scary side. So, I think I shot a total of 10 rounds through this. Maybe. See, 1. Then I did a magazine. This thing holds 5. And I did 2. So, 7, 8. I shot 8 rounds through this, and I was done. I was done. That was it. It's enough for me to talk about the gun, to make some, I think, educated opinions on it, to talk about its history, its mechanics, to do a range report, to talk about this, show it off, and you guys can laugh. But that's it. So this was a disappointment from the perspective of I couldn't really shoot it for very long. But it was a success from the standpoint of the gun actually works, and it's not as much recoil as I was expecting. It's a lot of muzzle flip, but not a lot of recoil. And I don't know if that makes any sense. But it's not like you'd shoot this and like feel like you're going to drop the gun or lose control of it. I mean, you definitely could if you were weak and didn't know what to expect. But I've shot a 500 Magnum before. So, yeah, that's what happened on this one. And I got hurt, and I was bleeding. And that was in my range trip. I was like, you know what? I'm not in pain, but I got blood everywhere. So I cleaned up, came home, and now I got a little cut that's going to have to heal. All right, so those were the 2 guns I shot. Now let's talk a little bit about the channel, okay? I want to talk about some ideas for the channel that I was speaking with my friend Richard about, and I want to get your opinions, okay? So, the first one is, I think I need to make a caveat or say something at the beginning of every Texas Gun Vault 2 video. Because he told a friend of his about my channel. And his friend went and looked me up. And when he looked me up, he found the Texas Gun Vault 2. And he goes, Richard, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's just this dork sitting in his garage talking about guns but never reviewing them. He didn't see the reviews. And then Richard had to go, no. That's the Texas Gun Vault 2. That's his backup, or his behind-the-scenes channel. So I might need to change my channel name so people understand it better. The Texas Gun Vault 2 or the B channel. I think Mr. Guns and Gear calls his second channel the B channel. Maybe I should do that. Or I should either, at the beginning of every video, because I do get new subscribers to this video, and occasionally they go, what? Where are all these reviews? They have no idea I have a main channel that has way more subscribers than this, where I actually show off the reviews of these guns. So maybe I need to do that, okay? So what do you guys think? Should I mention it in the beginning of the video, or should I change the channel name to something that's going to be a little bit more obvious? Okay? That's the first question I have for you. Second question I have for you. Okay? And this is another thing that, and it meant a lot to me that Richard took a lot of time to talk about or ask me, why doesn't my channel, my main channel, have way more viewers? I review guns that nobody else gets to review. I have content that nobody else gets to review. And I was telling him about my personal perspective on it, about, you know, a lot of times gun channels will get big because of the person. And some people just have that X factor. There's a personality to them that causes people to gravitate towards them, like a Hickok 45. You know, he's that granddad kind of a guy, you know. You feel like he's your, you know, uncle or whatever. You always feel like there's this familial connection to him, and he's just a good old boy, you know. Or maybe Mr. Guns and Gear, you know. You realize, okay, he's ex-military and he, you know, he has the bald head. Well, I have the bald head too. But, you know, he comes across the way he speaks. He's very authoritative about the way that he speaks. He's very confident, very sure of himself. You have Coleon Noir, who's, you know, young, energetic, hip, you know. So they all have these niches where it's just, for me, it's just me in front of the camera and it's just me talking. And I'm not the most charismatic. I think I'm interesting, but I don't have that X factor charisma. And he says, well, that might be it. But he says, you know what a lot of other channels have that you don't is a studio. I said, okay, well, yeah, well, that's true. It's literally me out here in the garage, okay? And he was like, well, why don't you build like a little wall back here where you can, like, you know, take the signs and hang them up back here and make it look more like a studio. And I was telling him, from my perspective, I like the backdrop that I have. I'm out here in the garage because I want to make a connection to other people. I want other people to think he's like me. Because I am like them. I'm an average gun guy, right? A lot of you are probably sitting in your garage watching me, maybe on television, maybe on your phone, cleaning guns, doing something out here, a project or whatever. And here I am coming to you at night from my garage, from one guy to the next, in your man cave. And I like to have that connection. And while it might not be the most professional looking, it might prevent people from subscribing to my channel. And I get that. And I was telling him that in a few years when my wife and I move, get a different house, because we don't need this big house because all our kids are pretty much in college, I would like to set up a studio inside, especially because, man, it's hot out here and you can probably hear the fan going. So it'd be nice to have that. But right now, if I go inside, I don't have enough room inside of where I keep all of my gun safes. And the lighting is horrible. And I have, you know, my boys are coming in and out. I got dogs barking, all this kind of stuff. I bother them and they bother me. So it's easy for me to come out here to the garage. But what do you guys think? You know, and I told Richard, I said, the odds are of me building a wall that I could move, you know, is slim to none, because the Texas Gun Vault is already a lot of work on top of my regular job. So I don't think that's going to happen. But what do you guys think? Do you guys like my background? And do you feel that it gives people some type of connection that I'm just a regular gun guy, like hopefully the people that watch my channel? Okay? So that's kind of the two channel things. So tell me about that. All right. Now let's talk about upcoming projects. Oh, I love the upcoming projects. So I went and saw two of my good friends today. Number one, well, Jack number one, way over in the Fort Worth area. Not Jack number two, who lives over in this side of town. And I took back 4 guns that I have recently reviewed, and I've uploaded the videos, but they're not released yet. They're not going to be released for some time. Which, by the way, the videos that I make on these guns that I'm about to show you, and right now it is what, mid-June? You won't see until probably next year. I am that far ahead on videos. Like, I literally have 2 videos set every single week and a product review on the weekends. And I have that many videos. I've reviewed that many guns that I'm trying to get through. And I'm adding more. So the stuff you see me show you tonight, you might not see, unless I decide to move it up in the agenda I move other stuff back for 6 months. That's good and bad. But I saw Jack, and I wanted 2 guns from him. One is, let's see if maybe I can get it for you here. Which one was it? It was, yeah. I asked him, I said, hey, I reviewed this gun in the past. May I review it again? Because I lost the video. And it was one of my older videos that I don't think I had good camera work with. And he said yes. And so this one is the... Forgot, you gotta drop the magazine on these bad boys. The Walther PPK in 22 long rifle. So I lost the original video when I lost my original channel. So I am going to do a range report revisit. But I like doing these now because I think I'm a better reviewer now than I was then. I'm a better shot now than I was then. So hopefully I will get a chance to give this one another shot. So the Walther PPK in 22. I know it's not everyone's favorite gun, but it is a Walther. It is pretty cool. It's the James Bond gun. And while I was there, he was asking me, he says, well, what other videos or what other guns are you needing to redo? Maybe there's some of the ones I've lent to you in the past. And 2 of them were. I was like, well, I got a list because I knew which videos. I had a list of what I had released. And when I upload everything and organize the channel, I realized I don't have those videos anymore. And 2 of them he had. I had borrowed them from him. So let me show you those. So this is also going to be another revisit. This is the Colt Cobra, and this is one of the new production revolvers. So I'm excited to get another chance to shoot this. But it is a snub-nose revolver, so I'm probably not going to shoot it very well. But I do get a chance to shoot it again. And while I was at it, he says, you know what I have? I have an original. But he asked me not to shoot it. He asked me not to shoot it because it's unfired, and I think he said it was his dad's. So he let me borrow it, and I'm going to use it in the video as a comparison to this gun and show it off that way, but I will not shoot it. I promised him I wouldn't. But we have an original Colt Cobra, and I have to look up the serial number, but looking at the prefix, which is an M, I think that's early 80s. So here we go. Colt Cobra, 38 Special, unfired. Isn't that pretty? That is beautiful. This is also the lightweight one as well. So I think it's the alloy frame. So I will use this in the video where I compare the old and the new. Or the old and the new. So he let me borrow that. And that was very, very, very kind of him. But he knows I will take care of his family heirloom firearm. And there was one other gun. In fact, I had messaged him a few days ago going, can I borrow this one again? And the reason I was very appreciative that he let me borrow this again is because of the caliber it is in. It is in 22 TCM from Arms Corps. And I think you know where I'm going with this one. Another 1911, but this one's a double stack. And this is the, I guess the model is the TCM. This is an M1911A2 FS TCM. So this is the one in that really oddball caliber. It's like 9mm neck down to 22, I think. Let me show you one of these projectiles, one of these cartridges here. And as I said, because I had to borrow the gun and the ammunition. Well, I guess not borrow the ammunition. He let me have it because I got to review the gun. I'm going to try not to use as much of it as possible, you know, to bring as much back to him as I possibly can. But here it is. I'm pretty sure it's 9mm neck down to 22. And this is a screaming cartridge. I mean, this thing, it has a fireball and a flash, but it recoils like a 22. It's kind of cool. It's definitely a neat and cool idea. And this gun can also go between 22 TCM and 9mm with the change of a barrel and recoil spring. So we will try that as well. And I remember having a lot of fun with this. So he let me borrow this and gave me the ammunition. So Jack number 1 is awesome. You know, I always tell you guys I'm the luckiest gun tuber out there because I have people like him, like Jack number 2, like Richard, like Matt, all the people that have linked guns to the channel, David, you name it. I mean, just so many people. I mean, I said I can't even list them all because there's just so many. You know, recently I had Raul, and as I said, I know that I'm forgetting so many people. And so if I forgot you, I promise it's not because I don't think about you. Okay, it's because I am so blessed beyond words. Okay, so I get to bring you guys this content and shoot these firearms. So, but it's because of people like Jack. So that is just how awesome this whole thing is. So those were the firearms he let me borrow. So 4 cool ones. Then I went over and saw my friend Richard, who lives on that side of town, and he had a firearm for me to review. Him and I also talked watches. He's also a watch guy. And I know I showed off my Rolex a few days ago. This is not my Rolex, okay? This is actually a... I know some people are going to ask, is that the Rolex? It has a white dial. No, it's not. This is a Seiko modded watch, and the colorway is called the Gulf. So white dial, kind of a light blue bezel. It's a GMT, and it uses the Seiko N34 movement, and it's on an oyster style bracelet. And I had it custom made with the, you can see all the mechanics and the weight in the back. So that's what I had done on this, and a guy out of Arizona built it. So that's what I'm wearing today. I don't want to get out a $10,000 watch just to make a gun video here in the hot garage. Then I was talking to Richard about guns, and he had something really cool for me to look at. And this is actually something I'm glad I'm going to get to review because it helps clear up some nomenclature that I wasn't necessarily following. There's a few words that you hear thrown around in the Beretta circles that for some reason never sunk into me and I knew what they were talking about. And the 2 words are Brigadier and Centurion. Because I was like, wait, is the Centurion, I forgot, is that like a lower grade? What is it? Is it like the thicker, I know one has a thicker slide? He goes, no. The Centurion is a compact slide on a full-size frame, kind of like a Colt Commander. And I was like, oh! And that is what he has for me. Ouch. Man. There we go. Man, I racked the slide, about pinched my finger. So here we go. The Centurion. So a compact slide on a full-size frame. The Brigadier is the one with like the different design on the slide, where it's like thicker in certain parts. So that's what that's about. And he did change out a couple things in this to some Langdon tactical springs. But I get to review this. So I love the Beretta 92s. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. That's the upcoming projects. I still have a couple of Jack's guns, Jack number 2's guns to get to. I got to get the ones I showed you today. These 2 right here, I got to get those range reports filmed. I think I'm actually going to do this one tonight because there's not much for me to edit. And I'll try to get that one out. And then I'll get to these. So, oh, my friend Jack also had some stickers for me. I guess he bought an Olight recently. And he's like, hey, you got stickers for Olight? I was like, no, I love stickers. I put them all over my gun safes and things. So he gave me some stickers. So that was another highlight of my day. So there you go. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know about my channel. Let me know about any of the guns I shot and any of the guns that I showed off today, what you think, what I should think about, and that's it. So What's the word of the day? What is the word of the day if you made it to the end of this almost 30-minute video? Gotta think about this one. Let's do... Oh, okay, a hard one. A hard one for today. Centurion, because it was the last gun that I showed you, okay? Good luck using that in a comment. So, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks for joining me here in the garage. And thanks for knowing that this is my second channel and not my main channel. But let me know how I need to let other people know that. I always thought I made it clear calling it the Texas Gun Vault 2, but I guess not. So, as always, thanks for watching.